This is my 2003 Toyota Avalon XLS that I have affectionately nicknamed the Junkyard Avalon. I bought this car 1 year ago at COPART for $325 with some minor body damage, an unknown history report, and 412,000 miles. In this video, I'll go over my full ownership experience, including what it took to keep this car on the road for a year, my first time experience buying at COPART, and my experience at the DMV getting a salvage title car legal for road use again. A year ago, I discovered COPART.com, an auction site that people and companies use to sell cars online. Most of the cars sold at COPART are sold on behalf of insurance companies after a car has been in an accident and deemed a total loss. This could vary from a minor fender bender all the way up to a car messed up so badly that it can only be used for parts or even scrap metal. Anyway, I had an unhealthy obsession with searching for cars on the site, and I came upon an ad one day for this Toyota Avalon. The high bid was only at $300, and I thought it was funny that a car with such high mileage was actually in pretty decent shape and was going for such a small amount of money, so I thought I would put in a bid myself. So I put in a max bid of $325. The auction wasn't for a few days, and to be honest, I forgot I even bid on it. I assumed someone else would come in and bid above me at least on the day of the auction. They didn't. Coincidentally, I just so happened to be going on a trip with my friend Casey to Myrtle Beach the same day of the auction to look at a 240SX that he was thinking about buying when the engine in my van blew up on the side of I-95 in Walterboro, South Carolina. 30 minutes later, I looked down at my phone and I had just won the auction for this Avalon. We took it as a sign, left the van on the side of the interstate, hopped in a rental Kia Forte, and drove 190 miles out of the way to pick up this car that we knew nothing about in hopes that it would make it to Myrtle Beach and then all the way back home here to Jacksonville, Florida, safely and without issue. It wasn't a very well thought out plan. We arrived at the COPART location in Charlotte and paid for the car with a debit card at the front desk. The total after auction fees and taxes was $550. After I paid, I got a salvage title, my receipt and bill of sale, and a piece of paper to give to a forklift driver outside so that he could go find the car, pick it up, and bring it to the front so that me and Casey could be on our way to Myrtle Beach. When we saw the car, we were pleasantly surprised with the condition. While it was very dusty from sitting at the COPART lot for a few months, the body damage was minimal and mostly isolated to the passenger fender. It was low on oil due to a slow leak from the valve cover gasket, so we topped that off. It shifted into second gear pretty roughly. The tires were in really bad shape, and it smoked like a freight train from sitting so long. But for $325 or $550 after fees, I couldn't complain a whole lot. In spite of all of that, the car made it 4 hours to Myrtle Beach and then an additional 500 miles over the next few days throughout the Carolinas and then eventually back home to Jacksonville, Florida. As soon as I got it back, I started the process of having it legally certified as a rebuilt car, giving me the ability of registering it for road use again and allowing me to drive it without fear of being ticketed or having the car impounded. The process varies depending on your area, but here it was pretty simple. I printed out about 4 pages of paperwork from the DMV's website, filled in the information about the car and the repairs made, which in my case just included pulling the fender out with my hand a little bit and buffing out the rubber marks left by the car that hit it. I included pictures of the car in its damaged state, submitted it all to the DMV, and then requested an inspection date. After waiting a full month for it to be inspected, they finally looked over the car and deemed it safe for road use again. That same day, I got my new title and registration and was able to drive off legally. Overall, it was pretty easy, but it did take a lot longer than I was expecting. So just keep that in mind if you do go and buy a car from the salvage auctions. Shortly after, I replaced the worn out tires with a new set, costing me $275 and bringing my new total investment to $825. I drove the car trouble-free for the next 3 months until that rough shifting transmission finally caught up to me and gave out completely. I was able to find a replacement unit with only 60,000 miles for $350 and a shop willing to swap it out for another $650, bringing my new total investment to $1,825. I drove it for a few more months with no issues and decided to spend some money on cosmetics. So I swapped out the front grille with an OEM replacement that I found new for $50. And then I replaced the fogged out headlights with a brand new set of aftermarket lights that I found new on Amazon for an additional $85. That brought my new total amount invested to $1,960 for the car. The next month I replaced the front brake pads and rotors, which cost about $75 on parts. And I have done oil changes on the car myself. About 6 oil changes in total over the past year and 20,000 miles, with an average cost of about $25 in parts each time I go to change the oil, bringing my new total cost to about $2,210. The car was the victim of a hit-and-run accident last month, which left the driver fender in pretty rough shape, so I swapped it out with a replacement that I got at the junkyard and spray painted to match with Duplicolor auto body paint. It came out pretty good and the total repair cost was under $80. Overall, I love this car. And it's actually made me a pretty big fan of the Avalon in general. I mean, it's pretty much a Lexus for the price of a Toyota, and it's great for road trips. I've driven by myself in this car for 12 hours in one day, and it's so comfortable it barely even takes a toll on you. The purpose of this car is to be a cheap, reliable, and comfortable daily driver, and it's been perfect at that so far. I have no doubt that this car will be on the road for years to come, and it will hit the 500,000 mile mark. Although, I'm not sure if I'm going to be the one behind the wheel when that happens. Anyway, guys, I hope you liked the video. If you did, please remember to like and subscribe. It really helps me out a lot. Throw your thoughts in the comments down below. I'll read them all. And if you have any questions about buying a car from Copart, please feel free to let me know down there, and I'll get back to you and help you out as much as I can.